Vikings. And after that, we were supposed to pull out our blank guns and shoot them in the air. Well, all these outlaw bikers pulled out real guns and were shooting them in the air. Everything I do in a movie is like an adventure, and as the unexpected happens, I guarantee you, constantly, and it's a great thing. But I'm not getting arrested for it. I can wheel a car, I can jump off a building, I can jump through a wheel, you know, whatever I want to do. And if it fits, I'm not going to get busted for it. So that's a nice feeling. You get to express, you know. Okay, that's that story. That covers Stone Cold a little bit.
Oh, I've just gotten a note to remind everyone here that we are screening Near Dark at the Toronto Underground Theatre tonight at 9 p.m. So this ends at 8, so you've got a whole hour to make your way over there. And Lance Henriksen will be in attendance in the screening, and he will be doing another Q&A after that screening.
But about that movie, I got lots of stories about that movie. I really do. Good stuff.
So if your question doesn't get answered here during this panel, there's a chance to have it answered later this evening after the Near Dark screening. Red shirt.
Oh wait, this guy is slugging.
Okay.
Red shirt, all right?
All right, gray shirt.
Yeah.
Hi there. Hopefully I'm not covering something from last year because it was real original. I had a Millennium question. My favorite episode was the one of the 3 men in the cop shop. It was supposed to be the demons. They told stories about you. I was curious what one of your favorite episodes or memories from Millennium was.
You know what? There was a simple thing in that, right? The devils could be sitting there having coffee, and if a human looked at them, they would just see 3 old men, right, eating donuts. But then there was a kind of other perception where us as an audience watching that show saw the devils. But within the show, nobody could tell. But Frank Black, for some reason, they had me able to look at the guy and go, I saw exactly what it was. So they did a whole show to describe a very simple concept. That this guy, they were trying many, many ways to express Frank Black and his abilities. Were both spiritual, they were like a chess player. I never liked the idea that he was a what do you call it? Like a psychic. I never saw it that way. But they were trying to find many, many ways of describing how he viewed life. And I was always amazed at the writers because they could really come up with this stuff. Remember the little toy sitting, a bobblehead of the devil sitting there after they left? That was cool. I mean, I really liked it. I liked that show. I liked a lot of them.
Red shirt.
Did I get it? That was good.
Out of all the roles you've played,
Out of all the roles you've played, what is your favorite one?
That is the hardest question in the world, man. It really is. It's you know how I get out of it always? I go, they say, what is your favorite movie that you've done? And I always go, the last one. You know. But there are some roles, like I love doing Westerns. I've done about 5 of them. And they all, I have a philosophy on what makes Westerns good or bad. If a guy is playing a cowboy, it doesn't work. He has to have a life, and he also happens to be in that era. You know what I mean? So there's always the practical life, you know. And so that makes one good if you're doing that. Like I don't know if you saw Appaloosa, but Ed Harris and Viggo Mortensen were a couple of town tamers, which they had back in those days. And you had to work in twos because otherwise you would tame the town, and then the town would kill you, so they didn't have to pay you. So you always had somebody at your back. And the ironic twist of that story was that him and I, the character Cole that he was playing, and I, had tamed towns together. We had tamed towns together, and that was our past. So all through the movie, Ed Harris was directing the movie in character. It wasn't like he would drop the Cole character, who was a killer, and then direct. he would always be directing. 16 and 17 is leaving. But anyway, to make it short, he would always be saying to me, are you telling me you would shoot it out with me for this guy? And I said, he owes me money. Yes, I would. I'm not afraid to die. You want to do it right here, right now? That's good. Okay, let's go. And he would go, there's a time and place for everything. You know, I mean, it was like that kind of thing. So we'd improvise constantly. So Westerns are great if you're working with people that are willing to work that way. You know, so it's all about the fundamental practical stuff. When I did Quick and the Dead, I realized, do you see how I was dressed in that? Ace Hanlon with all that fancy embroidery and stuff with the guns. I did right on guns. You did that. that I thought, if this guy was sitting in the desert by a campfire drinking coffee, and 4 guys rode up and saw him dressed like that, he better be able to like stand up for it, stand up for himself, or they'll take everything he's got. And so I always approached Westerns as being part of the natural difficulty of living in that era, you know. And so I wasn't ever playing a cowboy, I was playing a survivor in a lot of ways. Yeah. Yeah, you know, Sam didn't know what I was going to do with the role. He offered it to me as a cameo, and he said, "Come up and play Ace Hanlon," and I got extensions put in my hair and had long black hair. I had my hair dark black, and I had to put a mustache with a thing. And he hadn't seen me. I was coming up to shoot, but he hadn't seen me since the last time he saw me, which I didn't look anything like that. And then I also I knew the guy was flamboyant, you know, he was like a showman. And I had a buddy named Rex Rossi, and I worked on this trick of flipping off the horse backwards and shooting under the belly of the horse. That wasn't in the script at all. It was just that I shot the card out of the girls, you know, through the ace. And when I saw Sam, I came up we did the stage. We had a reading with Gene Hackman, and everybody was there. And I said, Sam, on the first day of shooting, I came out and I said, Sam, I want to show you something. And I had the stunt guys bring out this big white horse. And I said, this is what I'd like to do, you know. And so I got on the horse and I did a flip and shot under the belly. And he was like a kid. He was like, oh, that's in the movie. That's in the movie, you know. So, and he did. He went to great lengths to shoot it. I mean, you know, but that Sam was a great guy, man, and that was the first movie he had where he had every kind of camera and lens and piece of equipment. So he was super happy. And the one other thing that happened was Sharon Stone. I came out of my trailer in the morning, and she came out of her trailer without an ounce of makeup on. And I must have shown it, but my jaw dropped. I just went, oh. And she went, Lance, it's only my spacesuit. My spacesuit. I said, can I borrow it?
All right, I got a working microphone again, and we have a blue shirt on the far right.
I'm going to be making a short film in a couple weeks, and I've never directed anything. Do you have any advice about how I should treat my actors?
Any advice about how to treat actors on a short film shoot?
Okay, I got a good analogy. If you make a film in China and you're Chinese, they have a mattress for the women and a mattress for the men. And when you're not shooting, you sit on those mattresses. Sounds pretty bad, doesn't it? But that's the way it's been done there for a long, long time. Paul Anderson, the guy I did Alien vs. Predator with, told me this story because he was going to go there and shoot. And he said to the producer, the Chinese producer, I don't think Americans are going to put up with that shit. Excuse my French, but I would just treat him with the same dignity you treat yourself. I mean, just we're all just people.